All right, thank you everybody for coming today. Justin is going to get started in just a moment and then I'll take over. But before he does get started, I just want to let everybody know that we cannot see you or hear you because we're in webinar mode. But if you have any questions today, you can put them in the chat box and we'll get to as many questions as we possibly can. Also, this webinar is being recorded and we will send you the slides and a link to that recording a little bit later today. And if you're on our podcast and you would like a copy of the slides, you can email us. The email address is contact@cpgcares.net. Okay, so Justin is with Blue Sprig and he is hosting today and sharing his audience with us. So I just wanted to give him a few minutes to tell us a little bit about himself and about Blue Sprig, and then I will go on with the topic of transitioning your loved one into adulthood. All right, thank you so much, Justin. Feel free, take it away. Tell us a little bit about you and about Blue Sprig, please.
Yeah, thank you for having me on today. And so Blue Sprig, what we do is applied behavior analysis for autism, basically ABA, and I'm a data entry clerk for them. And I've been with them for 3 years, and it has been really a great journey with them. And I mean, I did start as an RBT, registered technician. I did the whole training basically, but it was a lot of training, basically 40-hour plus training. And I did all that basically. And after I finished that, I moved up to different roles then with the clinical support administrator, and then after a while for that, I went to data entry clerk for them. I've worked with so many different people basically within the company the past few years. Even I started with them was pre-COVID basically. Basically, I was going through. Of course, we had a lot of gear shifting change on when COVID hit, basically, where we work remote and how to work with the kids, and they basically were able to do the home settings with the kiddos wise too. With the registered technicians, BCBAs, basically on their houses, work with the kids, basically. So it was a very interesting journey wise so far, and during the whole times. But basically, I'm a data entry clerk from Blue Sprig, and basically our values are. Well, children autism, we're playing fields law for all. We welcome the why not, judicious, judgmental, passion, embrace rules and status quo, and puzzle solvers on a mission, basically. And children and families, we sort of heart of everything we do. But basically, from what I'm doing, also is I'm going to go through a couple slides wise on basically on the and of course for my history of autism in 1985, I Chuck Texas Children's, and understand science needs drug people decisions, understand people can be advocating, play video games, socialize with people, shy person, great at high school, and more social skills training, social butterfly, 18 to drive, and get comfortable navigating around vehicle. So, and of course, basically, I guess. And just like to jumping around my employment status quo is TechSan, which is MRA services, and I've done a couple different speaking events for different groups, organizations of businesses, nonprofit organizations. And I've worked at one job for many years, at 8 years at the library. And for me, just no room for growth. And I want more to advocate the autism aspect of things for a job wise, and do more of that kind of field line work wise. Bottom line that, and like I said, I mentioned about Blue Sprig, I've done so many different things, and it's more a lowdown for what I do for them, and the whole things. Some of the stuff I had to do when I was doing the RBT training, and some of the stuff you learn basically. A sample if you guys are interested in becoming a registered technician yourselves or as well, and basically, and of course the facts wise, and autism, unemployed, can be unemployed, raise some minimum wage, which I don't like.
Mhm.
Satisfied on point check, but no, we want to work as well. Feel comfortable at work, have a nice job wise, more than just IT, could do different fields, college drive, and these are part times like from here and there from the other aspects of fields. It could be a social butterfly. And basically that's about it right for now wise.
Wonderful, wonderful. So Blue Sprig Autism is
Mhm.
the Facebook page, or is that
We
that
have a
right?
Facebook page and of course the website too, bluesprigautism.com.
Perfect, perfect. So if people are interested in learning more, they can go to that. That's fantastic. Thank you so much for sharing a little bit about Blue Sprig and for being here with us today. I'm Michelle Morris from Consolidated Planning Group. We are a financial planning firm that focuses on families with special needs loved ones. We're located just outside of Houston, and we serve families all across Texas and all across the United States, as a matter of fact. People come to us for things like protection plans, lifetime care planning, transition planning, which is what we're going to focus on today, able accounts, and advocating for families who have a loved one with some sort of special need, intellectual disability, developmental disability, any of those issues. There are over 263,000 financial planners in the United States, which it's a lot, it's crazy. But out of those, fewer than 0.1% of those focus on special needs planning. That's under 200 in the whole United States, 200 firms or less that focus on special needs planning. So you are definitely in the right place when you're with us if you want to learn about getting your special needs kid from middle school to high school and beyond. What happens after high school? That's what we're going to be talking about today at a pretty high level. Again, I'm going to say, because I know some people have joined, we cannot hear you or see you, but we know you're out there. Please feel free to put your questions in the chat box, and I'll get to as many of your questions as I possibly can. Also, this webinar is being recorded, and we will send it out to you along with the slides later on today. So one thing that we always like to start with is having realistic expectations for your children. And this goes for everybody, whether they're autistic or developmentally delayed in any way, or if they have a physical exception, or whatever the case may be, even neurotypical kids. It's not fair to compare to other people or other people's children. Some people say, if a flower isn't blooming, you don't throw away the flower, you change the environment that flower is in. I like to think of it as my favorite snack, popcorn. I love popcorn. And when I make popcorn, I do it on the stovetop. So, you put all of the oil and all of the kernels into the same pan. It's on the same burner, being heated at the same time, at the same heat, but never do all of those popcorn kernels pop at the same time. You have some early birds that pop sooner, and then the majority of them kind of in the same few minutes, and then some stragglers at the end. Nobody's going to have everything happen at the same moment. You have to understand your child's diagnosis. What challenges does that bring? And also what strengths does that bring? What path is going to be right for them? Maybe it's a non-traditional path. Everybody is not meant to graduate high school and go to 4 years away at college and get a job and do things in the same exact way. We think that you should keep an open mind and consider things like maybe delaying their driver's license, like Justin did. It took him some time to get used to other cars being around and to get ready for driving. So that's not a problem. Maybe a trade school or a community college instead of heading off to a 4-year degree program. Maybe looking into Texas Workforce Commission's vocational rehab program for some vocational training. They can also help with college classes. There are registered apprenticeships. There are, options at different colleges where you can take a reduced course load or special programs that are available. You could also live at home instead of going to live on campus. So there's a lot of different possibilities. And we just want parents to keep an open mind for those different possibilities. When you're thinking of your loved one or your child or your student, however you'd like to refer to them today, finding a good fit is multifaceted, right? So you want to find a good school or college if that's what their path looks like. One that has a good center or a good office of disability, because some of them have, their disability services might be 2 people who sit in the back of the office and don't really do much, or it could be a robust, healthy program where they really understand and really take the time to help. So you want to find a school with a good office of disability and a school that, is a great fit for your student for whatever they want to study, is a good location, the price. There's a lot to consider with different schools and colleges, which ones are going to offer more scholarship money or something like that, of course. Extracurricular activities, you want to think about, what does your child love to do? And are there clubs and programs available to them? The career path that your child is looking at, maybe your child has always dreamed of being a veterinarian or a doctor, a pediatrician, and you have to go to school for many, many years for those things. If your child does not enjoy school, but they want something that requires, years and years and a master's degree, maybe that's not a good fit, that career path for them. Maybe an apprenticeship in that career path might be better. And work setting, you want to think about that. If maybe a person really enjoys quiet and kind of working on their own, that would be something you can look for in a work setting for them, a quiet office space, maybe the type of job where they're working on a computer like data entry, like Justin does. Or maybe somebody really enjoys moving around a lot and kind of a loud environment. Maybe something more in a manufacturing setting might be better for them. So just think that, not everybody is going to do the same job or go to the same schools or have the same extracurriculars. And whatever is good for your child, that's great. Nobody's judging and nobody needs to worry about being judged.
Also, the coworkers who are workable and who call their boss, basically, too.
Yes, exactly. So there are some accommodations that you can get at school and at work. With school, you can get accommodations for your SAT and ACT test and your AP exam, even college level courses and graduate exams, things like that. You can have accommodations for those, but you do need to prepare ahead of time. Find out what the requirements are for those testing programs, whether it's like college bound or Praxis or I'm drawing a blank on who does all of those testings, but you can have extra time or whatever accommodations you need. You just need to let them know why. Why does my child need this accommodation? And And you have to remember that, when you go to college or you're going into some kind of a certificate program or an apprenticeship or whatever it might be, the accommodations that you had through high school and through your years of, elementary, middle, and high school, they don't automatically come to college because they don't have all that IEP stuff. They don't have the records from your previous school. So you need to let them know ahead of time what you need and why. They might, Justin, did you have something to add?
Yeah, the other thing is, when I went back to my for my office administration course, I'm a client like the tech sales services, and I talked to the all people at the office of Wharton, and I brought my paperwork from Texan, and he pretty much took it. So if you have
Perfect.
nothing more services wise, you get services from organizations like them, they'll take it as well.
Good. Yeah. And they might ask for like some updated testing if it's been more than 3 to 5 years since you've had, a doctor's visit or an IQ test or anything like that. They might need to see some updated testing. Also, a FERPA. A FERPA is a form. Oops. FERPA is a form that tells the school that your parents can talk to the school administration. So if your parent would need to call to find out about your attendance or your grades or financial aid, anything like that. Colleges, they don't really want to talk to parents very much. So that's a very important thing to do. You should also make sure you have your FAFSA, the free application for federal student aid, have that filled out every year. But really, for the school to talk to you, they need that FERPA. Now, when it comes to jobs and being out in the workforce, there are rules that a reasonable accommodation must be made as long as it does not pose an undue hardship to the employer. If they need to put in a ramp for a wheelchair, that's one thing, but they're not going to renovate their entire building for one person's disability. So you can go to the Department of Labor website or the Job Accommodation Network to find out more about what is required in the workplace. And those links, again, when you receive these slides later on today, they will be clickable links for you. So you can go straight there and figure that info out. So I mentioned some of the programs that are available through colleges and universities. These are all in Texas, but there's programs like these all over the country. You can go to the STEPS program through Austin Community College, which we've heard great things about. Vast Academy at Houston Community College. The Lone Star College Life Path program. And these are programs that are designed for students with differences. Maybe they have shorter programs, they have fewer classes, they have more mentorship and more support than other students would be getting. The Non-Periel Institute, there are programs at A&M like Aggie Achieve and the PATHS program. Texas State has some programs. And now we don't work for any of these schools or any of their specific programs. These are just things that we've heard of that we want to share the word about so that you can go out and look into this and find out if any of these would be good for your children. One program that we know about that is a good program for children who are neurodiverse. This is called Campus Connections. A company called Bloom Consulting runs this. And again, we are not affiliated with Bloom Consulting. It's just one that we've heard about that we wanted to share. They support college students in post-secondary institutions, either in person or virtually. And they can help build a support team for your child, where they give your child a connections coach. They provide mentoring, guidance, navigational support. And it really helps students learn how to problem solve more effectively, how to stand up for themselves, how to be good self-advocates while they're away at college or going to college from home or anything like that. And it doesn't matter what school your student goes to. This is a private company that does this. The cost can be about $1,000 a month. It's usually private pay, but if you're working with vocational rehab and this program fits into their plan for your student, then they might help pay for that. So if you want more information, all of the contact info is down there. We are sharing these slides later on today. I see that question in the chat box. I also see a question, how old before they can enroll in a program? The programs that we're talking about today are for after high school. Okay, so once, and that's not necessarily an age anymore, is it? Because there are 18+ programs or post-graduation programs in high schools. So whenever your child is finished with high school, that's when they're going to start looking at these kinds of programs.
A lot of the schools, they can keep them until they're age 22 wise if they want to be still the programs of the school districts.
Exactly. Okay, so some things to think about when you're talking about special needs planning. First of all, you need a great team around you and your family to help with all of these things. A special needs planner, like what we do at Consolidated Planning, we help with making sure you have all of your benefits in place, that you're saving money for the future, for your child to take care of them once you're gone. You're saving money for your own retirement, and you have things like life insurance in place and your investments and the benefits, and that you don't do anything that would jeopardize your children's benefits. Now, you also need an attorney who understands the aspects of having a special needs loved one, because they have to do things like your will, a trust, and guardianship if you need guardianship. So you need both a planner and an attorney. We do the money side of things and the financial side, and an attorney will do the paperwork side. Build your team of experts. You don't want, your neighbor who is a real estate attorney who's going to do guardianship for you for cheap, because you're going to spend more time and money fixing what they do than just doing it right the first time. You need experts who are on the medical team, on the care team, financial team, all of it. We've got your back. You want to gather up the documents of things that you've already done and you've already planned for, so that you know where you are when you're starting planning for the future. When you're looking at a GPS to go someplace new, they always need to know where you're starting from. And it's the same thing with this. When we're looking at the roadmap of your future, you need to start with, where are you right now, so that we can get you to where you want to be in the future. A letter of intent is a great place to start, to get something together for your family that will help when someone needs to step in for you. If something happens to you, you put together this letter of intent, and we have entire webinars just about that. It's kind of, putting in writing what needs to be done if you should be gone tomorrow. And it's a scary thought, but it's so important. And it's so helpful for somebody to be able to read something like that. Think about your vision of the future for yourself, your family, and your loved one. What do you hope? What do you expect? What would be the best case scenario? And how can we help get you there? That's what we're looking for. The sooner that you plan, maybe you're many people coming to today's webinar, since we're focusing on transitioning from high school out into the real world, your kids are hopefully around 16, 17, 18, 19, in their teens or early 20s. But the sooner that you can possibly start planning so that you can think about things like funding your trust for your child, maximizing Social Security for yourself and your children, and thinking about what happens to your child when you're gone, the earlier you can plan, the better. So it's really important to think about those things and to have these things in place, because not only does it give you peace of mind and everybody around you peace of mind, it gives you a chance to build the relationships and to change things about maybe your financial future with small incremental changes rather than panicking at the last minute. So we do have a question about the letter of intent. That is not something it's not a legal document. It does not need to be filed with a court. It's more of a love letter. When you have little kids, whether they're neurotypical or if they have differences, you have little kids and you hire a babysitter and they're coming to watch your kids for the first time. And you make that list of like, okay, bedtime is 8:00. Here's Aunt Jane's phone number if you need help. Here's where we're going to be. You make that kind of list. This is like a very expanded form of that. If someone comes into your house tomorrow and needs to take your place as caregiver, these are the things that they need to know. And I would just do it on my laptop so that I can easily edit as my family grows and my child changes and develops. And then print a copy and maybe keep it in a binder somewhere where people can find it. And then, next year I go back and edit that letter. I print the fresh version and set that aside, throw away the old one. But no, it does not need to be filed with any court. So how are you going to fund your child's care? One thing that we help with all the time is helping people figure out, okay, once I'm gone, we would like for our child to go to Marbridge or Brookwood or maybe a group home or whatever. Those places can be very expensive. So what we say is that you need to, first of all, preserve your child's eligibility for state and federal programs, like the state waiver programs or SSI, Medicaid, Medicare. You need to stay eligible for those programs so that they have all of that additional support throughout the rest of their lives. Establish a special needs trust for future care funds. This is one place where you can have money where it's not counted against like your assets for benefits for SSI or whatever. You can have money in a special needs trust. So like your current life insurance or any assets that you have, investments, those things can be left to the trust instead of leaving them to your child. Because if it's in your child's name, then it's an asset that they own and they could be cut off from other funding opportunities. You can also have money in an ABLE account. So you might have heard of a 529 college savings plan. That's a 529C for college. This is a 529A, A for ABLE. And ABLE actually stands for Achieving a Better Life Experience. So you can use the money in an ABLE account for really anything that helps your child achieve a better life experience. There are limits to how much you can put in. It's $17,000 for 2023. And then you can put in an additional $13,590 if the child is working. So you can have an ABLE account if the disability began before age 26. And you never want to have more than $100,000 total in the ABLE account, because then again, they could lose funding for some of the other programs. So the trust, special needs trust, is a place where you can put any amount of money for your child that they can use in the future. You can put any amount of money, but there are limits to what you can use the money for. You should not, if you're counting on SSI, you should not use your special needs trust for food, shelter, cash, things like that. You can't pay rent, or else there will be a reduction to your SSI benefits. If you don't care about your SSI benefits, then it's fine. Your ABLE account, on the other hand, there are limits to how much you can put in, because this is a program where that money grows tax-free, but there's not a limit on what you can spend it for. So it's really good to have both of these accounts for your child, because they work together. And again, this is kind of a high level look, but we do webinars on each of these topics. And if you have questions, you can always reach out to us. The ABLE account, going a little deeper into that, the beneficiary of the ABLE account is the owner of the account. But again, it does not count against them for SSI, Medicaid, or any other public benefits. You put money in and it earns income because it's invested, and the income that it earns is not taxable. So it grows tax-free. Now, unfortunately, the contributions that you make to an ABLE account are not federally tax deductible, but some states might give you a break on your state income tax for money that you put into an ABLE account. Now, here in Texas, we don't have state income tax, so you can't get a deduction on that here in Texas, but other states might allow for that. And again, like I mentioned, there are special limits on how much you can put in there and what you can use the ABLE account to pay for, that you need to watch out for. Now, when it comes to the special needs trust and guardianship, these are things, again, that an attorney will have to help you with. The trust will help you preserve benefit eligibility, but also be able to provide resources for your child in the future. You can use it as, in your will, you would say, I want my life insurance to go to not my child, Jacob, but the special needs trust for the benefit of my child, Jacob. And then that way, it's not going directly to him. It won't hurt those benefits. Guardianship, again, you need an attorney to help you file for guardianship. That you can start that process when you are within about 6 months of your child turning 18. It does take some time. It does require courts and judges and all of that stuff. And you have to have a qualified attorney to help you with your trust and guardianship. So here's some additional resources that we've put together for you. We do have a quick question before we go to these additional resources. What if my son is, or my significant other, or my loved one is turning 18 next month and I haven't started guardianship yet? That's fine. Not everybody needs to have guardianship. And as a matter of fact, here in the state of Texas, the state wants you to get the least restrictive option possible. So it might not be full guardianship. It might be partial guardianship, or a power of attorney, or healthcare power of attorney, or maybe even supported decision making. You don't have to have guardianship. And if you don't have it right when they turn 18, that's not a problem at all. Get around to it when you can, if that's something that you want for your family.
Yeah, because some of the stuff also on the guardianship, because certain rights don't want to be taken, like right to vote, right to sign your own papers. There's like quite a few things you want to keep in mind too.
Right. Yes. And in some states, they do refer to it as conservatorship. But here in Texas, we call it guardianship. And yeah, it takes away rights, the right to drive and vote and get married. And a lot of people don't want to take those rights away from their loved ones. But if you have to have guardianship over them, that it's a balancing act. It's something that you need to consider for different family needs. So here are 3 links. Again, when you receive these slides later on, you'll just be able to click these, so you don't really need to worry about copying them down, but some good links for transition planning. And here we go, transition and residential programs. Now, these are mostly in Texas, and I've put, so the part that's underlined is going to be a link to whatever the program is. And then the part that's in blue, it's just what city this program is located in. So we have everything from Sugar Land to Kingwood to Rosenberg and Abilene and Pearland and Menchaca and Cypress and San Antonio. Just again, we don't work for these programs. They don't work for us, but these are some good programs that we've heard about. And you're going to want to look at your area and what is best, what is a good fit for you. Some of them might be specifically for children with autism. Some of them might be specifically for children with other disabilities, and serve different populations. So check into them and find out what might be good for you. All right, so this link, as I've mentioned several times, webinars that we do and how we can help. We do these webinars sometimes up to 5 or 6 times a week on different topics that are helpful for families. Things like transition planning, which we're talking about today, ABLE accounts, saving for college, programs for residential communities, all kinds of different topics. We talk about how to find friends, how to find work. And you can look at this link right here for our upcoming webinars. After we do a webinar, we always put them on our YouTube channel. So you can look there for the webinars that we've already had and watch them at your convenience if you've missed the live version. Some other things to think about as you are planning for the future for your loved one, future care cost estimates. So we talked about that a little bit, but if you want your child to be in a residential community and have full-time care, what is that going to cost? Not just what does it cost right now, but maybe you won't need that sort of a community for 20 years. What is it going to cost in 20 years? That's what we can help you with. And if your child is going to be there for the rest of their life, 20 or 30 years once you're gone, what is the cumulative cost going to look like? We can help people figure that out. And then if it turns out that your child doesn't need residential care, or they don't need it for as long as you expected, then you just have a better retirement. We always want to plan for the worst, but we stay positive and hopeful for the best. And we say, if the best happens, or when the best happens, you just have more money to spend on your retirement goals and travel and whatever you want to do in the future. The Texas waiver programs. Hopefully all of you are already signed up for those waiver programs through your local intellectual and developmental disability authority, your LIDA or LIDA. Those waiting lists in Texas can be 17 plus years long before you can get the waivers. Now, the waiver programs are meant to help with some of the costs of care, the cost of therapy or transportation or prescriptions, things like that. But you do have to get on the waiting list and go through the whole wait time. Some states don't have any wait time at all. Others, like I said, like Texas, it can be 17 or more years before your child gets those benefits, but they're so worth it. So,
yeah, I was on one for a 14-year wait list.
wow. Which one did you get?
It was the HCS one, Home Community Support Services.
Yeah, that's a really good one. And they can even help pay for housing in the future. So it's really important to get on those waiting lists. We help families understand the difference between SSI and SSDI, different Social Security benefit programs, and how to get on them, who to call, when to apply. So if your child is under 18, they're most likely not going to be able to get either one of those programs, SSI or SSDI. SSI is meant for people who cannot work, don't have much in assets. For example, for SSI, your child has to have less than $2,000 in the bank, and not be making more than 1,470 a month. If you make more than that, or if you have more than $2,000 in the bank, you're not going to qualify. When your child is under 18, they look at the parents' assets. So most parents have more than $2,000 or make more than $1,470 a month. Now, when it comes to SSDI, that is not based on how much money you have. It is based on a work record, and it could be your work record or a parent's work record, or your child's work record. So it's different programs, but we can help you unravel all of that and understand what you need to do. ABLE accounts, again, I'll bring that up again, another place to save money for your kiddos. Put some money aside. If grandma and grandpa wanted to leave money for them, they can put money in there. You have limits on how much you can put in. You don't ever want that to go above $100,000. And also Medicaid, if there's money left over in the ABLE account, once your child passes away, Medicaid can come back and reclaim some of that money as a payback for all of the Medicaid programs that hopefully you'll be able to take advantage of. Beneficiary designations are very important because, again, you don't want to leave money or assets straight to your child. You want to leave them to a trust, a special needs trust. There are two different kinds of special needs trusts, and this does get a little bit confusing. So if you don't get what I say, don't worry, we'll help you figure that out. But there's a first party special needs trust. First party is I myself. Think of one first party. The money is your child's money. It's either money they earned through work or money that comes to them like child support money, or money that grandma and grandpa accidentally left straight to your child. That goes to a first party special needs trust. And that's fine, but keep in mind that Medicaid, again, can claim money back from a first party special needs trust. The third party is where you would prefer to leave that money for your child, in a third party special needs trust, because then Medicaid or the state cannot come back and reclaim any of that money if it's in the third party trust. Just depends on where that money is coming from, where it needs to go to be done correctly. And I hit on this a second ago, but if child support is a situation in your life, you have an ex-spouse who is paying child support. A lot of times when you have a kid with special needs, that child support continues beyond age 18 so that you can help support that child into adulthood. But once they turn 18, that money needs to go into a first party special needs trust. And that way they will stay eligible for SSI benefits and Medicaid waiver programs. Okay. Residential living communities can also have waiting lists. If they're very popular, those waiting lists can be pretty long. So you want to tour residential communities early and look to see, do they support children with the same diagnoses that my child has? Can they handle what I'm going to be giving them? Is it a community that we can afford as a family, that is in a location that we like? What does this waiting list look like? find all that out ahead of time, because it can be difficult to find the right place. And then once you find the right place, we would hate for you to have a situation where, okay, we found it, let's move in. Oh, you can't move in. We have a 10-year wait list. So check into that. And then we did talk a little bit about guardianship. That process can get started before the age of 18, so that it hits that you're ready to go when they turn 18, but it's not a make or break thing that has to happen at age 18. So don't worry too much about that. And then post high school educational options. We talked about that a little bit today.
On top of that, it's one thing I was going to say, you can have the school, you can do transition programs with them, and you can work part-time and still keep your benefits as well, like the SSI and DI and Medicaid as well.
Yes.
You keep those, and you can talk to people at TWC, Texas Workforce Commission, and those other programs out there too, to help with the job front and be able to still keep your benefits as well.
Yes, that is a great program. And if you're in school and working, there is also an exclusion, kind of like when you're doing your taxes, there's exclusions. You can make a little bit more money and pay less in taxes. There are exclusions where you can make a little bit more money and still claim your benefits if you're in school. So I do have a couple questions here. Let's get to some of those. Medicaid, which trust does it have to be in? Okay, so Medicaid, the thing with Medicaid is that you just want to stay eligible. So the guidelines for the Medicaid waivers is that you can make, or your child can make 3 times that 300% of what the SSI benefit is, and they can keep Medicaid. So the SSI full amount that they can pay you is $914. If you're getting SSI, if your child is getting SSI right now, they should be getting $914 per month. 3 times that, I have it written down over there, is $2,742. So your child, once they're 18, they can make that much money, $2,742, and still get Medicaid, but they would be disqualified for SSI. So there are different rules and different levels, but if your child makes under the correct amounts, you just don't want their bank account. So let's say your child is on SSI and they're making $1,000 a month, which is fine. They're not going to get the full SSI. They'll get it cut back a little bit, but they can make $1,000 a month. That's no problem. They'll have their SSI reduced a little bit because they're making some money. But let's say they don't spend it all every month and their bank account is getting up there. You can't have more than $2,000 in their bank account. So that's where the ABLE account or the trust, first party trust, come in handy. They can move some of their money into those things and it won't count against them anymore. So it's not like you're hiding money. I mean, the government knows, and the government set this up as a legit way to save money, but still get these benefits. I hope that makes sense. If money is left in the third party trust, does that affect their benefits? No. The special needs trust and the ABLE account, you can put your money into those accounts and it does not count against them for the asset guidelines or income guidelines. Well, the income guidelines it does. If a parent dies and the survivor benefit is over the amount, I'm thinking they mean over the amount that the ABLE account will allow. That's what your special needs trust is for. That's why you have to remember, if I can only leave $17,000 a year to the ABLE account, and let's say I want to leave my $1 million life insurance policy to my child, well, that has to go to a special needs trust instead, because again, the trust can have as much money as you want. The ABLE account has limits on how much money you can put in. Okay. Great questions. Keep it up. We've still got, I think we've still got 10 minutes and I only have a couple more slides left. So I will answer as many questions as I get. Here's our team. Again, we are based just outside of Houston, but we serve families all across the United States. We are members of the $1 Million Roundtable, which it just means it's a industry award that just means that a lot of people trust us to serve their families. We are members of the Academy of Special Needs Planning, which means, of course, we really focus on this and we get the additional certifications to prove it. We are also National Social Security Advisors so that we can help advise you on your Social Security and when to turn on those benefits for yourself to get the most for your family and what benefits your children can draw from you based on their disabilities. On the top row of this page is the advisors for our firm. Allison and Jeff are a married couple. And then there's myself and my husband, Andy. We're all parents. We've all been through this. We also have a great support staff who helps with marketing and paperwork and making phone calls and setting appointments and all of those kinds of things as well. So we will be reaching out to you to see if you would like to set an appointment with us or to see if you have any further questions. So just remember those smiling faces when your phone rings, and please don't yell at us. And then finally, we offer everybody a free initial consultation. During this consultation, what we want to do is get to know you and your family, answer any immediate questions that you have. What is really keeping you up at night, or what did you need clarification on, or, you just wanted to know a little bit about what did you say about SSI? We will answer those questions for you for free, no charge at all, and help you through those things. Now, once we learn about you, we're going to tell you how we work and what we charge, and decide from there if you want to work with us and if we feel like we would be a good fit for you. This initial consultation takes between 30 to 45 minutes, very low key, no pressure. So we want everybody to sign up for their free consultation. Also, this slide has the links for our YouTube channel, Instagram, podcast, and Facebook. Like I said, the YouTube channel is where all of these webinars go after they're done, so you can watch them all. So let's see more questions that we have. Can the 529 account money be partially rolled over to an ABLE account? Yes, if you have a 529C college savings plan already set up, and you think that college might not be in their future, you can roll that money as long as they have a disability that began before age 26. You can roll that money into an ABLE account. Now, once it's in an ABLE account, you can use it for college still, or for rent, or for clothing, or a car, or a laptop, or tutoring, or any number of things that will help make a better life for your child. Once it is in the ABLE account, though, it can only be rolled over to another family member who qualifies. So another family member with a disability that started before age 26. Okay. And partially rolling over, yes, you can put some in an ABLE, some in the college savings account, or various children, put one child's money in a college savings account, one child's money in the ABLE account, whatever you need to do. And if it's over 100, spend it down. Spend some of that money on your kids. I see a thank you for all the information. Again, call us and set up your free consult. We are fun. We're low key. We're not going to pressure you. We are going to follow up until we get an answer about whether or not you would like to work with us. Other than that, we're just here to help. So check out our webinars. Thank you again for being here with us today, Justin and everybody who joined us. We truly appreciate your support, and we appreciate being able to share this information. And I hope that you'll join us for another webinar soon. Like I said, we do these several times throughout the week. So please join us again soon. I don't see any other questions. So I'll just thank you so much to everybody. Have a great day. Enjoy the rest of your week. Bye.
Right. No, well, no,
Bye, Justin.
what was it?